I'm Zach.
I'm Zubayr.
And we're still reading from the second word. Let's start from where we left off.
Yep.
But just as a reminder, the ayat at the very beginning of this page, or of this word, which is Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ, in English, those who believe in the unseen, or as we've talked about in previous discussions, those who believe by means of the unseen. Maybe is one way. So we have left off on 27, on page 27, near the end, the last paragraph of this page, but not the last paragraph of this word. In the middle of the paragraph, the sentence that begins with throughout, for those following along. So I'll read it, and then we will go from there.
Yeah.
Throughout the country he saw the festive celebrations of a general discharge from duties, accompanied by cries of good wishes and thanks. He also heard the sound of a drum, and band for the enlistment of soldiers with happy calls of God is most great, Allahu Akbar, and there is no God but God, La ilaha illallah. I think that's good. It continues, but I think this is the main gist of where we can talk about some points, and then maybe move on and keep reading if we have time.
Okay.
So throughout the country saw festive celebrations of a general discharge from duties accompanied by cries of good wishes and thanks. And there we have some things that come out in front of us that we see. When I first read it, I found some stuff, some terms that we should talk about. General discharge, cries of good wishes and thanks from this general discharge. What is this general discharge? What is it representing? I think is what we should talk about first.
Death.
Yes. Death.
Is it too sudden?
No, you're right.
Well, general discharge, yeah.
But we don't usually look at death as a general discharge.
That's the point.
I mean, so we're talking about if this is those who believe in the unseen or those who believe through the unseen, it's basically like saying those who see the world through, or see existence through the lens of belief in the unseen. So if one is looking at the world with this perspective, or perhaps even one in this perspective, yes, but the perspective is based on an intention that he has, which is the very beginning of this paragraph. One who was godly, devout, and the one who was, as we said in a different video, God altruistic.
Yeah.
So the one who didn't put himself in the center of the universe. That intention, to not put oneself in the center of the universe, is what caused this perspective, which is what basically caused death to be seen as a general discharge. So I think we need to talk about how it is the ayat, the meaning of the ayat is going to get us to see death as something good, something that which we would which would be accompanied through or accompanied by cries of good wishes and thanks. So,
is it on me?
I've done most of the talking up till now. If you have anything you want to share, I mean,
I just nodded everything.
Yeah, that was the introduction. Now let's get to the actual meat of the.
What I see from the sentence is the general discharge from duties is something really great that everyone just having some festive celebrations. Is it that good?
That's what the author is basically saying or implying here.
Yeah.
That death is such a good thing that you're going to have a celebration when it happens.
Well, yeah. And the second part you just mentioned before the record.
No, I'm sorry. It will have the people who stay back in this world will celebrate. Oftentimes, and this maybe is an interesting point, we say, I've heard this with discussions with many people, that the person who dies, it might be good for him because he's going to a new realm, but the people behind
will suffer.
Because
of the separation.
Because of the separation. The author is actually saying that's not even true here. He's going a step further. Yes, the person going will, it's good for him. That's what the good wishes is looking at. But at the same time, the people staying behind are happy, celebrating that he left.
So there has to be a strong belief that they will be the ones who are going. They will be in a better position or in a higher position, happier position than the ones who are staying.
But I still don't think that that's enough
to convince the ones left behind to be happy.
To have a celebration for it. I mean, to not be.
Oh, he just left.
To not be rebellious. Okay, that might be enough to not be rebellious.
To calm them down.
But to actually celebrate, to see it as a really good thing.
Well, yeah.
And there's a difference with that. This is two-part. So to actually have the celebration, I guess when we look at it, it goes back to the intention. If we are egocentric, when I'm separated from the person I love, then...
From my perspective, I will suffer.
Yes, exactly.
No matter where he or she goes.
So I guess maybe we can think of it like this. We have this general perspective, this general intention of not taking myself as the center of the universe. And that will make me not rebel so much, or I'll be happy for the other person when he dies. But maybe in the smaller details that we have to continue to hammer out throughout our life, I need to keep taking myself out of the center in order to get to this point where I can celebrate. Because if I'm egocentric, I won't celebrate at somebody else's death, even though it's good for him. And I know it's good for him, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, you're right. But how? Or, I don't know. Yeah, strange.
So basically this means is the...
Good wishes and thanks. Wow. Throughout the country, he saw the festive celebrations of a general discharge from duties accompanied by cries of good wishes and thanks.
Yeah.
They're really happy, joyful.
Yeah, I mean, the good wishes and thanks, I can understand. I think that's the general understanding that we have from somebody who believes in an afterlife, that somebody is going to live for eternity in a good place. I mean, good wishes and thanks. Everybody will say that who has this belief. But to make it to the festive celebration, that's...
Yeah.
How do we get to that, I think, is in the next sentence.
Okay, please.
So, he also heard the sound of a drum beat and the enlistment of soldiers with happy calls of God is most great and there is no God but God. So the solution to this celebration is in these two phrases, God is most great, Allahu Akbar, and there is no God but God, La ilaha illallah.
So what?
So what? Now remember the author described La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God, in the previous word a little bit more extensively than how it's being translated now. And I think if we start from there, maybe we can do that. So when we say La ilaha illallah, which is the statement of Tawheed, the oneness of God, which is basically what all the messengers with the Quran, everything came for, is to declare this message. The methodology of Tawheed is very important here to be able to reach this. When we start by saying La ilaha illallah, we start with the word no. We start with negation. We don't start with God. We don't even start with there is. We start with no. No God.
None of those.
If we're translating, but the Arabic is no God. It starts with a complete negation.
Yeah.
In English, the no comes a little bit later. In Turkish, the no comes at the very end of the sentence, for those of you who know Turkish. But the methodology in the Quranic methodology is very different here. Starts with a complete no. I have nothing. I didn't create myself. I didn't create my qualities that I have. They didn't create themselves. I look around, nothing created itself.
Yeah.
But I exist, which means that I have an absolute creator who is the owner of all of these qualities that I see. The person that I loved, himself, since he wasn't the owner of these qualities to begin with, he's not the source of these qualities. I don't see it as something being taken away from me when he leaves.
Oops.
Yeah.
But he just left.
He left, but
he passed away.
Yes, he passed away. But is he the source of the love that I have for him? Is he the source of the beauty that I see in him? Is he the source of the mercy that he expressed?
Well, apparently so. But yeah, if you say La ilaha illallah, and you truly understand what it means, yes, he is not.
Exactly, which is what this ayat at the beginning of this chapter is referring to. Those who believe in the unseen. The unseen is the source of everything.
Yeah, including whatever you love on the loved one.
Exactly. So that's the first step. I mean, and this is also what Allahu Akbar actually means. I mean, they're both going together here too. But when we understand this, that He's not the source of any of the qualities, I don't see it as a loss. I don't see it as a separation.
Separation is another issue, but yeah. Since the death is not non-existence, then it won't be a separation too either.
Yes, and since the one I love is not a source of all the qualities that I love,
it's not a separation from the thing that I love.
Exactly.
Things.
In fact, now here, why is it a celebration? Because in His replacement, which is what's coming, the sound of a drum for the enlistment of soldiers, what's coming on, I'm witnessing another aspect of that same love that I had that was manifested in the previous person that I love. It's a new version. It's a new mixture, let's say.
Well, it just, for example, I'm just sitting here. Remember the grandmother example. I'm just sitting here, and grandmother gives me a plate of, something that delicious that I would love. I'm starting to eat. After a couple of minutes, she decides to give me another plate filled with lots of different delicious things. So he takes away this plate to bring another one. I'm just, no, bring this back. Well, it's just like that.
Yeah,
it's
like
going to keep up. She is here. It's not the plate itself.
Yeah.
I'm not the one who has to chase the plate.
Yes. And if you know it's from your grandmother, not from the food itself, then you're happy that you're getting the new plate, because now you're seeing a different...
Wow, another one.
Exactly, a different mixture of different qualities of the qualities that you loved. Because in different proportions, a different beauty will come out.
I couldn't finish the first plate. I can't ever. But no matter what, she's going to bring me another one.
Exactly. So I'm celebrating at the general discharge, the discharge of this person into the next world, because it's a benefit for him, and it's also a benefit for me. Death is that.
Well, yeah.
And this only happens with belief through the lens of the unseen. And I think that's
enough.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we'll see you next time. Please send your comments and questions and anything else that you have. We are glad to discuss them.
Farewell.